Today is Transgender Day of Visibility, and I would like to ask myself this question. Is burlesque really safe for transgender people? My name is Nikki Boo. I had other names before. I used to look different. I still look different now. You might know me as a gorgeous woman, but just a few years ago, I used to be a very sad person. I was born and raised in Argentina, and I was on stage my whole life. I am also a makeup artist, a sculptor, a drag queen, and now I am an international award-winning burlesque performer. I literally transition on stage, coming back to every next show with some new affirming care done in my body, and I will talk about it, sometimes overshare. From 2018 until now, I traveled through many countries doing drag and burlesque. Brazil, Argentina, Peru, Colombia, United States, Canada, England, and Spain. In 2025, I won a crown in Atlanta. I'm the princess of the Barcelona Burlesque Meeting and Festival. I won the Buenos Aires Burlesque Festival, and I got 3rd place in Chile. This year, I'm about to perform in the biggest burlesque festival in the world, the Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend. For this Transgender Day of Visibility, I wanna ask myself a question. Is burlesque really safe for transgender people? In this video, I'm gonna refer to burlesque as a space rather than an art form. I wanna analyze the community in the present time and the spaces we have to navigate as trans-identified performers and audience members too. I talk based on my own experiences. I'm sure other people will think different than me, and you're welcome to share your point of view in the comments. I'm not afraid of being educated. We have plenty of proven history that trans people have been in the drag and burlesque communities from the very beginning. But the level of acceptance has shifted over time, and the survival mechanisms that trans people have to enforce in order to stay on stage also change. In the recent history of burlesque, we have examples like Marinka, the queen of the Amazons, who was forced to hide her identity all throughout her career in the 60s and the 70s, because being a trans woman wasn't really accepted in burlesque shows like that. Even when she felt safe enough to share her story, at age 80, she did it with an apology to the community. An apology, in her own words. I want to tell my story for people to both enjoy and to also learn who I am. I am not just a woman wearing makeup, beads and feathers. My empathy for people who feel like me is the force that pushed me into writing this book. If I had done this when I was 30, it would have been a sensation instead of my story. I want to apologize to the people I have known over the years and to those who are still my friends who did not know about the skeleton in my closet. The decision to tell all was not easy, but I want to live the rest of my life at peace, no longer having to quiet the voice that has always wanted to cry out. I can't believe she had to apologize for being herself the oppressed minority. Marinka passed in 2021 just as I was starting burlesque and my transition. Her story is what inspires me to always let people know that I'm a proud trans woman. In the more recent burlesque history, we have Moscaro Sky, who made history in 2019 for being the first trans femme competitor at the best debut category in the Burlesque Hall of Fame. We also have amazing performers like Ariana Amor and Queen Juan and Junabe that are all out as trans performers and are making it in burlesque. Now, in 2026, it feels like transgender people belong in burlesque without question. But is this true? I recognize that I have access to privileges that other trans women don't. Before I moved to the US, in my country I used to be told things like, "Tú te ves bien gringuito, te va a ir muy bien por allá." And when I first moved to the US, people would say, "You look white, you're gonna be okay." I hate to say they were right. Oh my god, I'm part of the problem. Kill me now. My lashes on these glasses. The experience of being trans is different for everybody, and intersectionalities play a big part in how welcome or accepted you are in a community and how comfortable you feel as a trans person in public spaces. In my personal journey, I started doing drag as a cisgender gay boy, or at least socialized that way. Drag shows usually happens in gay bars and clubs. The content is explicitly queer and gay, so the crowd and the backstage are usually safe-ish for LGB, maybe T, sometimes Q people. And more often than not, drag is a full-time job and resource for low-income misfits. Some of us immigrants, some of us push away from home, some of us unhoused, but this is not always the case in burlesque venues and communities. When I finished my transition and I shifted from drag shows to more burlesque and bigger shows in farther cities, my considerations when saying yes to a producer changed drastically. Depending on what city, what neighborhood, what time of the year, and who is the producer of the show, you might encounter a completely unexpected situation at the gig if you didn't know what you were signing up for. Am I right? Green rooms in drag shows smell awful, there is foam everywhere, glitter on the floor, and synthetic hair that tangles on your feet. It can be overwhelming. But you know what's more overwhelming for a newly out trans woman? A lot of other women with very little clothes on. Like real women. I mean, not real, but you know what I mean. You fucking know what I mean. Don't give me a hard time. I can only share from my own subjective experience here, but I felt this as a huge challenge to share space backstage with burlesque showgirls. Especially when I was the only trans woman in the show, which was most of the time. Thankfully not now so much. If you're out as a trans performer, it's likely that producers will reach out to you already knowing or because you are trans. In general, producers know their crowd and they don't want to expose performers or the audience to any harmful situation, but sometimes the awareness about the struggles of trans people or any minorities in general is, well, limited. One of the most common yikes of being a trans performer to me is when I'm added to a lineup only because the organization needed trans representation or any representation whatsoever. Even though the money might be good and the crew might have the best attitude towards you, make sure that they actually know what you are about to do on stage. I have been hired by producers that thought I was a drag queen, but they didn't know that my show include nudity. Next thing you know, you're in your local non-profit, you are on pasties and a tongue, and there are minors in the audience. Not cute, not safe. Sometimes cisgender people are fascinated with us. Most of the time, if not every time, I receive lots of love and compliments and words of support from people. People want you to feel included and validated, and usually they have the best intentions. But not everybody could step up to support you if things go wrong. Very often the environment is ideal at the theater, but then you go to an after party and what they didn't think about is that the club they have a discount at is a very super hetero cis club. And by the time you get there after your show and a bunch of rows starts cornering you in the club, the producers are already asleep. So I try to stay with the people that have active participation in the trans community or in the queer community at least. I think true allies work on the planning of the events to prevent any issues and to provide a safe space for everybody, producers, performers, and the audience. I call them flags because it can be any color flags you want. Before you say yes to a gig, check on the previous flyers, other regular productions from the team. Do they always hire diverse casts? Do they contact you with full knowledge of the kind of performances you do? Is a venue a queer club, a fancy theater, or a sports bar in a small town? Sometimes the producers do a great job at keeping a safe space during the show, but is the venue gonna be open to the general, straight audience afterwards? Let's talk about TERFS. In the 2000s burlesque revival, for what I understand, burlesque became a safe space for women to express their sensuality and power, correct me if I'm wrong, and a lot of queer women and feminists found strong community. It is not strange for trans people, to trans women at least, that for some feminists, our existence is a threat. And they let us know. I won't go into it too much, but I do remember the drama when our sister Moscato Sky won first runner-up as the first trans femme non-binary competitor as the Miss Exotic World Burlesque Hall of Fame competition. Let's just say that some ladies were upset and loud about it. Okay, this is the meat of the video. So I started applying and performing in the Burlesque Festival circuit in 2023. Since then, I have visited so many different states and cities that I have never imagined visiting as a trans woman. Most Burlesque festivals feels like magic bubbles of glitter and laughs and hope. And honestly, I think they are. I have had the best experiences and I made long-lasting friendships on every festival that I performed at. Producers, volunteers, and performers collaborate to create the best experience possible, and there is always opportunities for mutual care. But hey girlie, don't forget that when you leave the venue at midnight with your showgirl makeup on and walk down the street to get tacos pushing a half-broken suitcase, well, under that light, your burlesque clothes look tacky and they are calling everyone's eyes on you, and you might be alone in the middle of a conservative town all of a sudden. So make a plan for your safety outside the festival activities. I cannot give any reliable information because with the current climate things are not for sure, but I would just say traveling as a trans person with a lot of shiny clothes and not much cash in your pockets is not a great look for TSA. Are your nips male identified? What's your bulge's pronoun? Make sure the law will consider your body legal on stage, and I hate saying this. It matters for your safety right now. Okay, let's be real. Burlesque is amazing, the community is vibrant, festivals are so much fun, gaining recognition and representing communities is validating and necessary, but it's all paid experiences. It's rare for us to make any money while traveling. The best hope we have is to break even or to make a magic connection with a producer. That's why not everyone can access it. Even for those who do access it, the level of safety and the activities they get to do within the festival are gonna be greatly influenced by their budget. You know, there is a complaint from some showgirls saying that drag queens don't know how to do burlesque. But have you considered that most people in the drag community couldn't afford your classes? Thankfully, most festivals nowadays have free applications or discounted applications for BIPOC and queer people. Only once a producer told me that they don't have free applications because they wanted to make it equal for everybody, and I was like, there is also sponsorships and scholarships to help minorities accessing the festival circuit. People. Listen, it's no surprise that for trans people and for minorities, this contrast of statuses is very stressful and it creates a whole new level of insecurity from the way you look, what outfits you can afford to wear, and how you can relate to people with such different problems than yours. Burlesque brings a lot of different people together. Sometimes we get along and sometimes we shimmy. The crowds, the producers, the energy backstage, it changes from show to show. I am lucky to be based in an area when it's overall inclusive and I find consistent work and people that support me. I have too many layers of lipstick. I think today burlesque means building community, and because it's Transgender's Day of Visibility, I felt entitled to indulge and share my opinion openly and see if you can relate or criticize it. I don't care. Now, back to our main question. Is burlesque safe for transgender people? Hell no! Being transgender is dangerous today, and it's always been. Burlesque and burlesque festivals are not removed from the context they are in. We as a community keep making efforts to provide safety and fair representation because the world is in fact very unfair. When you are a burlesque or drag performer for a living, you have to endure all kinds of toxic and uncomfortable situations just in order to get paid and pay rent. This doesn't only impact trans performers, but usually it impacts us a little harder. But does it take the enjoyment away? Not for me. Obviously, being trans right now is not easy. It's never been. Just make it look like it. You know how to fake it. And if you ask me if I'm okay, of course I'm not. Otherwise, I could not be making this video. But neither do you, so don't judge me. Entering the burlesque community as a trans person can be a little weird. But I think I started having more fun when I stopped trying to fit in. I came out and I keep coming out. Not only gender-wise, also about my financial situation. I'm not ashamed for being broke. Is that controversial here? Listen, I think if I got booked somewhere, it's because my talent got me there, so I deserve it. And if I'm feeling poor because I compare myself with the other ones around me, it probably means that someone in the table has enough cash to pay for my bill.